It looks like we have everybody here. Shall we go ahead and start?
Okay, I've unmuted. Can you hear us?
I can hear you. Not super loud, but I can hear you. Yep.
Okay, I'll project.
All right. We ready to go ahead and start?
Yes.
Okay. Call the meeting to order. Would all who wish join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, I have two proposed agenda adjustments, adding an 8D, approve an MOU for minimum wage adjustment, and add a 2A, approving the August 8th board minutes. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, and any other agenda adjustments? Okay, we don't have Noah, but I'm online, so we'll go ahead
Isn't there another?
take a roll call vote. Jake?
Aye.
Can you pause for a second? Sorry.
Sorry, did I miss the adding
Yep.
the 2A? No,
I thought I said that. Well, better safe than sorry. Thanks, Kevin. Okay, so we have one aye vote on the motion to add the two agenda items. Kevin?
Aye.
Mark?
Aye.
I also vote aye. Motion carries 4-0. Go ahead and move to the minutes. Make a motion to approve the minutes of August 5th and August 8th as presented. Is there a second?
I second.
Any discussion or corrections to either of the minutes? Go ahead and take a vote. Jake?
Aye.
Kevin?
Aye.
Mark?
Aye.
I also vote aye. Motion carries 4-0. Sounds like we have a pretty bad lag going, but hopefully it won't get worse. Next up, I would make a motion to approve the warrants for regular warrant 26D, regular warrant 3, payroll warrant 3, and main purse July 2025. Is there a second?
A second.
Okay. Any questions? Go ahead and vote. Jake?
Aye.
Kevin?
Aye.
Mark?
Aye.
Also vote aye. Carries 4-0. The floor is open for public comment.
Brian, just so you know, Sophia's here now too.
Oh, okay. Excellent.
Sorry I was late.
No worries. Still summer. Seeing any public comment there? I don't see it online.
No, we have no public here.
Okay. Makes it hard to comment. Go ahead and move on to acknowledgements. Jake?
Nothing at this time.
Kevin?
Nothing at this time.
Mark?
I'm all set, thank you.
Sophia?
Nothing.
Okay. I don't have anything. Meredith?
Just like to acknowledge all the staff getting ready to welcome students next week. Obviously, the year-round staff have been here, but I've seen lots of our teaching staff back getting things ready. So acknowledge their efforts to be ready for next week.
Great. Thank you. Move on to director reports. Start with Lisa.
Hello, everybody. It's been a very busy summer. No surprises there. Sorry, I have a noisy dog. We've hired 2 new teachers and have transitioned another into the early childhood program. We're pretty excited about that. We did recently receive another notice of retirement for one of our middle school teachers who will be with us till October. So we're actively seeking candidates for that position right now. I've hired 6.5 ed techs, or filled 6.5 ed tech positions, which amazes me. And we have 1.5 positions left. So we're still meeting with people. I'm still meeting with people this week looking to fill those positions. Right this week, we have safety care training underway for staff. That includes new staff coming in to do the full 2-day certification. And then I believe tomorrow we have the full day recertification for many of our returning staff. Our early childhood program, I feel like I've spent a large part of my summer working on this. We have 9 students with active IEPs, 3 that are in the 3 and 4-year-old program. I believe 3 of them are attending our pre-K. Others are coming in for services, and with a couple of others, we are contracting with the providers that they're remaining with and providing services where they have been for the past year. But really, it feels good making good connections with families and just putting things together for them. So it's exciting. We've got a lot of furniture and materials that have arrived, and they're as wonderful as it is, it's almost problematic on the for the custodians who want to clean the floors, and they're having a difficult time because there's just so much to go through. We have I have my administrative assistant that a new assistant that began this summer. She's picking up the nuances of our office very quickly, very organized. So she's been a nice addition as well. Of course, we miss our lovely Pam as she finished up in June. We have IEPs that have been scheduled throughout the summer, especially for our 3 and 4-year-olds. And again, we've had, informal meetings with new students coming in and discussing transition. We've got professional development planned on in the early childhood program for training some of our staff to do evaluations for these students. So that's happening in September. As far as our multi-language learners, things have kind of maintained a steady flow. We haven't had any huge influx. It's been pretty steady. This is the year we're going to look at updating our LAU plan. And nursing, we don't have any new or any different new information. So at this point, if you have any questions, I'd be happy to try to answer those for you.
Thanks for the update. Especially good to hear about the early childhood 3-5 program, which I know is new. I'm sure was a lot of work. Any other questions or comments? Seeing none. Great, thank you. We'll go ahead and move on to Susan.
Yeah, I'll just start this wonderful end of summer evening with saying that, our summer school program was great this year. We had 51 more kids attend this year than last year. Most of those kids were with the middle school program and had 41 incoming 6th graders attend. And that was a really wonderful proportion of our kids getting used to life in the middle school who hadn't been there before. Other areas or programs that increased a bit higher with the ASA extended school year program and a bit higher at the OHS program as well. So geometry stayed about the same, and so did Summer Stars. Our coordinators did a great job handling that number of kids and making sure that we had staff in place to handle the number of kids, not wanting to turn away students that were eager to come to summer school. We did have the need for some additional transportation, and our transportation van driver, Will Lehan, was great at filling in as substitute in between his van drives, and that was really needed with the amount of students that we had to make sure that we had a sub on hand. So his skills and his flexibility were really put to use for us. We'll bring this up now. I put a note in my FY27 budget folder. I know it's really early to start thinking about that, but I wanted to make sure that we think about the numbers of kids that we had for summer school this year as we plan for next summer. The photos in my board report are our high school students making solar-powered s'mores. So if you're wondering what's happening in those boxes, it's pizza boxes and tinfoil and sun power putting its energy to s'mores for the kids. So just one example of the activities that was done to help connect kids to schools in positive and different ways. Shifting gears to our Elementary and Secondary Education Act, ESA, Title I and Title II funding. the state held back Title II funding because the federal government held back Title II funding for a while. So that funding was released by the federal government. And at the time that I wrote this report, I hadn't seen the allocation yet. Our Title II allocation was about $15,000 less than last year. We knew it would be at least $11,000 less because of agreements between the state and the federal government around having Title II funds stay with the town where the student resides for census purposes. So it's a bit less than we anticipated, but still enough to cover our Title II needs. We had moved, you may recall, the main curriculum leaders association dues and prep dues into our local budget, and I'm very glad that we did that. The Title II funds cover 33% of the director of learning position, my position. We're able to continue to cover that through Title II. And we also have about $4,000 that will go towards teacher professional development. The place that we're finding a bit of shortage and thinking creatively about is paid time for teachers to do some work this summer and potentially, after school types of hours in the school year if we need it. That has been paid in the past by some of the Title II funds. And I also included in my board report the additional assurance that is really not very different from assurances that we agree to all the time. But there is an assurance that was added by the federal government that we will continue to comply with things like the Constitution, the Civil Rights Act, the 504 Act, the things that we do already. I stuck in a quick flyer for our first and hopefully first annual Orono Schools Welcome Back Potluck and Family Game Night. We will start advertising this more. Have also started getting the word out a bit already. Please mark your calendar for Friday, September 5th. That event is being sponsored by us as a district and really supported by our family ambassadors, our OMS and OHS student ambassadors, OHS Student Council, and Key Club. So it's nice to have lots of different groups involved with just having an event for folks to get together and share a meal and spend some time. And then the last several pages of my report focus on professional development and plans for the year. This year, we are asking teachers and ed techs to think about their professional needs and their professional interests and pick a learning strand to continue throughout the year. And these learning strands are really focused on our strategic plan. So in addition to K-5 literacy and all the implementation of the new materials that we're so excited about, teachers and ed techs could also pick a strand that focuses on student engagement or one that focuses on student resilience. So we'll be sharing information on our opening day with everyone. Different administrators have assigned ourselves to be leaders and co-chairs of these groups. And we're excited about the idea of folks continuing a strand throughout the school year during our early release time, especially now that many of those early release days has an extra hour because of the swap for a professional development day in January, and as well as our district-wide days. And hopefully this will help things feel more connected and less disjointed for folks as we move throughout the year. So any questions or other wonders?
Great, thank you. Looks like great PD, and yeah, great news about the summer school. Good. Never too early to start the. Yep. Go ahead and move on to superintendent's report.
Thank you, Brian. I just wanted to let you know you're breaking up quite a bit on our end.
Okay. I may turn my photo off.
I just want to start by saying, since we've last met, really a lot of time around the building and certainly, for the administrators and myself included, it's been spent gearing up for the new year. Derek gave us a report today, gave the admin group a report today on the facilities updates. And I think, you know, there are some areas that are coming nicely to fruition. There are other areas giving him a lot of stress. Because as usual, you know, sometimes things don't go as quickly as contractors think they will. And like with the paving project, they found some unexpected you know, a surprise underneath the deteriorating asphalt that just caused a delay. They had to do a dig safe because there wasn't any gravel where they thought there would be gravel. So they are kind of a rundown. The classrooms at the end of ASA are finished and teachers are moving back into those, which is good news. The paving project, which is the back of ASA and Goodridge, you can see they've done some prep work for that. And they're coming back, I think, later this week and hope to do the paving Friday and probably Monday morning, which is unfortunate. It'll be busy around here, but it is what it is. We, you know, better Monday than Wednesday. And so with ASA, the only other thing there is part of the district-wide work, which is the doors and the access controls and a lot of the COPS grant activity. Actually, the door project replacement started at ASA, and so their new doors are in where we're doing replacement doors. And the crew has moved up to this complex to work on the new doors. You still see the door leaning outside the library when you came in. Hasn't been installed yet. So moving up to, but ASA does not have their interior keying done. They're starting to work on that, the rekeying. And they did the rekeying up here already. At OMS, really, it's just some of the COPS grant work, and so I'll give an update on the rest of that in a moment. At OHS, the cafeteria restroom remodel hit a snag because some of the product they got in the tile had been damaged during shipment. So they're going to have, there's going to be a delay on that. So they're going to get the bathrooms to the point that they can be used. Then they'll have to come in after hours to finish some of the tile work to complete the project. The garage conversion is moving along nicely, and they're working on adding the heating and hooking up the water service. The tennis court resurfacing is underway. If you've driven to the back parking lot, it looks really, you know, it's definitely underway, and they got a lot of the paint down today, and I think now they're doing some of the finer details of lines for the next couple of days. That's supposed to wrap up on Thursday. The dugout rebuild is in progress now, and the electrical panel out at the back field is installed, just waiting on Versant to come and connect. And with the COPS grant projects, nothing has really changed since the last update. We're still waiting on you know, some critical pieces for the company to do the PA installation and for the badges to be able to work. So those will not be ready at the start of the school year. Derek said the access controls, which is the way they can control the locking and unlocking of some of the new doors they put in, and some doors that are existing that we're just adding access controls to. We hope to have all of those ready for the start of the year, but it's looking like it might not be the start of the year. But you know, we'll just lock them with our keys like we have been doing. But we look forward to when those are operational. And other than that, the video camera system, I think all the cabling is done, and so they're working on finishing up the install of the cameras. And the safety sensors are kind of in a holding pattern, waiting on the bathrooms to be a little more ready for us to do the safety sensor install, because we're doing that ourselves. So that's facilities updates. We've been preparing for a new employee orientation, which is Thursday. And we have, you know, a full day plan for those individuals. We haven't really had any new resignations since we last talked. So we, you know, may have another hiring tonight if you approve the hiring we're bringing forward to you. And then Lisa and others, I know there were some ed tech interviews today. There's still some hiring going on of support staff. And then, as you know, next week brings exciting milestones with our staff back on Monday. We'll be in the Performing Arts Center all morning together, and we'll be having some updates on emergency response, reunification, and threat assessment. We're gonna have Lynn Lyons back, who was with us in March and was really well received by all, and going to give tips for starting the year with students. And also we're going to roll out the PD strands that Susan just mentioned and give some intro to that, and give staff an opportunity to select their the strand that they would like to participate in this year. While we've been thinking about, getting ready for school, I wanted to share something with you that was shared with me by a program director in a program we don't talk about much at board meetings, and that's in adult ed. I just wanted to share with you some work that's been happening over the summer in adult ed, because we don't often hear about what's happening in the program. I think we all get the flyers at our houses to know the enrichment side of what they do, but this summer, just since July 1, we've had 6 students achieve a high school diploma in our adult ed program. In our state reporting, Rebecca Cross, our director, reports that there's a benchmark around measurable skill gain, and the state benchmark is 42%, and our program exceeded the benchmark and is at 55% of measurable skill gain. She also talks about that she's been working with some students who are currently incarcerated, and in doing so, she's been going to the jail weekly to bring work and offer support. And so when she's been doing that, she has encountered other inmates who have expressed interest, and she has 2 additional enrollees. One is a high set student, another student, and has a list of several other names who'd like to enroll. So the quiet, sometimes not visible work of adult ed has been really active this summer, really through Rebecca's work and her continued passion to reach students in the ways they need. So I just wanted to acknowledge and just tell you a little bit about what's been happening in that program this summer.
Meredith?
Yeah.
It's Sam. I just wanted to say that from my perspective, I agree with you, and I'm so grateful for all the students that I know that she's worked with, and a couple others that I'm already talking to them as that being the best opportunity for them to reach their goals. And I just am very, very grateful that Rebecca's there and that program is what it is. So I appreciate you, and I appreciate you letting me speak right now, because I just want to say thank you, because it's really helped so many of our students.
Absolutely. And something less uplifting, you've probably seen in the news about the Anthem versus Northern Light dispute about whether they will have a contract with Northern Light for the coming year to be a provider. There are a lot of questions that Anthem enrollees have. We have Anthem health insurance here at the school. Almost every school in Maine has Anthem health insurance. So I know a lot of people have concerns, questions. I'm trying to get a little more information and just provide some information to our staff. Basically what I understand about it is that if they don't reach an agreement by October 1st, then we can still access Northern Light providers and services, but it'll be as an out of network cost, except for there's some other provisions that go until the end of the calendar year for other types of services, but mainly, physician services as of October 1 will be out of network, which is obviously quite impactful to folks. So, I'm hoping this is, posturing and something that they will figure out. But I think if this continues to be the reality and it goes, looks like is going on indefinitely, I just think we'll have to talk about what that means for our continued use of that healthcare program, health insurance program. But it's premature to, even be worrying about that stuff yet. But, I just wanted you to know that it's on our radar, and we're not getting any communication directly from Anthem about this. We haven't received anything. So all I know is what I can see on the news and also read on websites. And that's what I'm going to try to summarize for our employees. So. And that's my report.
Great, thank you. Any questions? Go ahead and move on to discussion items, class size update.
It's the time of year where we give you a first look at where we are with enrollment. And as you know, we give this to you again. I think actually the next meeting, I'll probably bring an update because things will feel a little more settled by September 9th when we meet again for a regular meeting. There are a couple of things on here that are, I think, noteworthy to mention. Several things, actually. One is that, Lisa talked about our early childhood program enrollment, and you see that we have 6 students there. So as she said, not all 6 of those are full-time with us, here, but they're receiving services, and some of those are duplicate counts and are also down in that pre-K number because they'll be attending half-day pre-K. But I think that's an important number to watch, and as we learn and see how that population, how we learn about that population and begin to serve and bring those students into our programming is going to be interesting to see unfold. The OMS enrollment's obviously up, and when you look at the 6th grade enrollment, that's a clear line between that number and the high enrollment at the middle school. It always happens that numbers in the middle school in grades typically grow. They don't go down. We just have more students choosing to come here in middle school years after, there are a couple of places that have choice. And so some people choice in. Other circumstances, sometimes we get more superintendent agreement requests for beginning in middle school years. So that number in 6th grade is up from where that cohort was when they finished 5th grade. And I think it was at 67.
That was gonna be my question. Do you remember how much?
Yeah, I think it was 67.
Okay.
Carrie, do you remember? Is that right? I think it was at 67.
That sounds right to me, Meredith.
Yeah.
Yes.
And the third thing that's noteworthy is the 9th grade enrollment is higher than we expected. We have a larger number of non-resident students who've enrolled there. So I think, when we see who shows up on the first day and how that shakes out, it'll be really interesting, to see what that really yields. So, and that's such a hard prediction to make. And I'm not sure, that there is a reliable metric for figuring that out.
Well, it's always good the way Lynn does it, right? She goes very conservatively, and if it's off, it's usually off in this direction, which we obviously prefer it this way than the other
For
way.
sure.
Right? It's easier to adjust to this than it is to adjust the other way.
And sometimes, and it happened either this past year or the year before, we, like you just said, got more 9th graders coming in as non-resident students than expected, but we lost more in 10 through 12 than we expected. So it helped balance that out as well overall with our, calculations of tuition revenue. So those are the kind of 3 things that I noticed in these numbers, but certainly at this time of year, things are still a little bit in flux. So by September 9th, we will feel like we have a more, stable report to bring you.
And we only have the one count now for the state, right? Which is the October count. They don't do the
That's
spring
right.
one anymore.
Well, they do a spring
They don't
report,
use
but they don't use it for subsidy.
Mhm.
Any questions about this?
Report just kind of continues to highlight the challenges of being a small district and the clumping of students and grades, and continues to highlight the need as a board, again, foreshadowing budget discussions for us to show flexible thinking in staffing to match these big clumps and valleys of students too. So but it's pretty vivid this year.
Yeah, I guess the
Anything?
other thing I noticed when you said that, Brian, is the kindergarten numbers is a lower cohort number. It's the lowest I think we have in any grade level right now. But interestingly, when the current eighth grade group was at ASA, they were in the mid 30s at one point, and over the years they've grown. So.
Yep. Okay. Anything else? Go ahead and move on. Start with co-curricular nominations. I would make a motion, to approve the slate of co-curriculars as presented. Is there a second?
Second.
Just very quickly, it's a bit of a list, but Isabella Moore for fall musical and show choir choreographer at the high school. Also at the high school, Bob Sinclair, Chris Bagley, Derek Sinclair for football, Sid Dijak and Grace Hamill for soccer, Dave Hamill and Jason Lewis for boys soccer, Megan Dreyer for field hockey, and Kristen Espling. Lynn White, Matthew Terrell for cross country, Mackenzie Hanna, Alyssa Kubesh for volleyball, Tom Hanscom for golf, Gage Duran for fall cheering, and Nathan Sprangers for jazz band and director of band. Any other questions or comments? Go ahead and vote. Jake?
Aye.
Kevin?
Aye.
Mark?
Aye.
Also vote aye. Motion carries 4-0. Next up, we have hiring recommendations. I would make motion to go into executive session under 1 MRSA 4056A, appointment of personnel. Is there a second?
Second.
Go ahead and vote. Jake?
Aye.
Kevin?
Aye.
Mark?
Aye.
Also vote aye. Motion carries 4-0. We'll go into executive session. I'll meet you over there online. Okay, looks like we're back. I would make a motion to authorize the superintendent to enter into agreement to hire Diana Wendell for a special ed teacher. Is there a second?
A second.
Any discussion or questions? Go ahead and vote. Jake,
Aye.
Kevin,
Aye.
Mark,
Aye.
also vote aye. Motion carries 4-0. Next up is the approval of the emergency response plan for the academic 25-26 year. This is a confidential document, so if we want to have a discussion, we should go into executive session. Anybody, or does anybody have any questions or want to discuss this? Or we could just go straight to a vote.
I'm okay going straight to a vote. Me too.
As am I.
Okay. I would make a motion to approve the emergency response plan as presented. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay. Any discussion or questions? Go ahead and vote. Jake,
Aye.
Kevin,
Aye.
Mark.
Aye.
I also vote aye. Motion carries 4-0. Next up is the SEP, Supervision and Evaluation Plan. Meredith, are you gonna present a quick overview or?
No, I'm going to ask Shauna and Richard to do so. They chair this committee, and I've asked them to give a brief overview.
Great.
Hey, Shauna, would you like to take the lead, Shauna? Go right ahead.
Sure thing, sure thing.
Okay.
It's August and it's the last meeting, so it means it's time for Richard and I to do this like clockwork. It was a great year. We have a great group on the committee, and we're looking forward to continued work and work to really move our overall plan to be one that promotes professional growth for everybody. And so in that vein, we made a few adjustments, which you would find if you're looking at the plan on page 2. And we'll just recap them. And of course, I would offer at any time throughout the year, if any of you or anybody out there in RSU 26 land has questions about the supervision and evaluation plan, certainly to reach out to anybody on the committee, but especially Richard or myself. So the updates that we have for this year is we continue to transition from the 2017 Danielson rubrics. Our supervision and evaluation plan is built off the Charlotte Danielson system, so we refer to it as the Danielson rubrics. So we're transferring from the 2017 rubrics to the 2022 rubrics, and there's a little graph there that sort of explains where people might find themselves on the continuum as we transition to 2022. Also this year, we updated some of our 2022 rubrics and ways of calculating the effectiveness rating for teachers. We worked to make the rubrics both for the formative evaluation, so that would more commonly known as sort of the classroom observation, and the summative evaluation to be a much more holistic approach to looking at the score. And we are using a preponderance of evidence model as opposed to a numeric score. And part of that reasoning is we discovered that people could just leave out certain parts of the Danielson domains and still achieve a pretty good score. So if someone didn't want to submit a portfolio, they could do that and still receive a pretty decent effectiveness rating, which would leave out a whole domain, which would be domain 4, which is teacher professionalism and growth. And so that is really the primary reason we sort of moved to a more of a preponderance of evidence and a much more holistic approach to determining the teacher effectiveness rating on both the FOFA and the summative. That's the really short version. Richard, do you have anything you'd like to add?
If I might add, I want kudos to the work that we did on domain 4 and bringing the
Yes.
portfolio into that. And I think, having a way to measure that is what that allows us to do. And that was a piece that was missing before. So I think that was a good addition when we did that work. So, but that's a good overview. I think that sums it up.
So if I understood, the main changes are the kind of ongoing transition to the 2022 rubric and
Mhm.
moving to this more holistic preponderance of evidence instead of a strict formula-based approach.
Correct.
We started that transition in the 24-25 year to the holistic approach.
Mhm.
So all probationary teachers were assessed with that approach, and then year one, people who were in year one of the continuing contract cycle, right? Year one and year two, sorry.
That's correct. Who had already started, right? Who had already started the cycle. Yeah.
Right.
And I know an effort for a good chunk of time, and we're not talking about it, so I'm assuming it went well, was getting specific rubrics for librarians and nurses and all the other people that count as teachers. So it sounds like that's gone well and working well at this point.
Correct. We are slowly transitioning some of them to the 2022 rubrics as well. We don't have all of them for the 2022 rubrics yet, but that's in process. Some of those rubrics are still being put out, but everybody is moving in that direction. Correct.
And we're quite far down that line. There's only a
Mhm.
couple more that we have to finalize.
The Danielson outfit's been really slow to release those. And we, have they released them? I thought they weren't releasing them and we were going to have to modify them ourselves. Am I remembering that correct?
There's a bit of both.
Yeah.
We've also relied on looking at what works that some other districts have done for them and then taking it and adapting it to us as well. But yes, the Danielson has been very slow on the 2022 rollout for things.
Thank you. Any other questions? Then I would make a motion to approve the supervision and evaluation plan for 2025-26 as presented. Is there a second?
Second.
Assuming no other questions, we'll go ahead and vote. Jake?
Aye.
Kevin?
Aye.
Mark?
Aye.
I also vote aye. Carries 4-0. Thank you to the committee for the hard work. Next up, we have the MOU with ESP. Meredith, it's in our packet, but Meredith, you want to introduce that?
Yes, thank you to Shauna and the OEA for helping with this. You may recall that there was new legislation that goes into effect actually it went into effect last year, didn't it? No, it says this year. It was just passed a year ago. That ed techs had to be at 125% of minimum wage, and that other support staff, school support staff, had to be at 115% of minimum wage. All of our classifications on our wage scale meet or exceed that, except for ed tech 1 step 0. So ed tech 1 step 0 would need to be at 1831 to achieve that 125% of the minimum wage of $14.65. So we are suggesting just that modification to step 0. And we'll have to look at this again, when it changes the next year. We did not have, Shauna asked a good question. We didn't have anyone in summer school at this ed tech 1 level 0 pay step. So we are fine just adopting it now and moving forward. We don't have many ed tech 1s, but sometimes we do. So we do need to have our wage scale ready for that.
Okay, thank you. I would make a motion to approve the MOU adjusting wage for ed tech 1s on the ESP collective bargaining agreement. Is there a second?
Second.
I have to say, when that law came through, I wasn't sure how I felt about it, but as I watch us scramble to hire ed techs and know the important role ed techs have in the school, I'm glad we're paying and more competitive than McDonald's to get ed techs into the schools. So I think it's been a good law. Any other questions or comments? Okay, we'll go ahead and vote. Jake?
Aye.
Kevin?
Aye.
Mark?
Aye.
Also vote aye, carries 4-0. Subcommittee reports, policy subcommittees meeting in almost 2 weeks. I think it's September 4th, Thursday afternoon. Don't know that we have anything queued up for it. It may just be a discussion of goals for the year.
We have some things that Lisa needs us to do, that were
That's right.
tagged in a special ed desk audit this summer.
Okay, yep. Anything from UTC?
We meet the first week of September.
Okay, curriculum subcommittee will continue as usual on the second Thursday of the month. Anything else you want to add, Susan?
Just September 11th is the first meeting, and we'll set some goals for this year.
Great. Wellness committee, Noah's not here. I don't think they met over the summer. Strategic plan leadership hasn't met. I think we meeting in September, or is it
Yes.
not till yeah, okay. So third Thursday of the month, we'll be meeting for that. So you can tell the semester starting, but we're not quite there yet. Any other business? Seeing none, the floor is open for public comment. Okay, seeing no public comment, our next meeting, it's a special meeting to handle some contracts and potentially some hires. It will be a shortened meeting. And notice it's next Tuesday, August 26th, and notice the earlier start time at 5:30 p.m. Any requests for information and follow-up? Okay, I would motion to adjourn. Is there a second?
Second.
And we'll go ahead and vote. Jake,
Aye.
Kevin,
Bye.
Mark,
Aye.
I also vote aye. Carries 4-0. We're adjourned. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.